Welcome to the Asian Star Channel. I'm Susan. Today, our video features the following exciting content.
One time during university, a drinking session nearly cost me my life. It was a suffocatingly hot summer night. We gathered at a riverside beer plaza by the Yellow River to cool off. At such moments, one cannot enjoy without wild talk. The more the boasting, the bolder the liquor made us. We drank as though determined to perish. Whoever couldn't handle it would simply stagger across the street to vomit or piss by the ditch, then return and continue. It was while crossing the street that I encountered that, and it looked powerful, as if it intended to crush the world flat. But the problem lay with me, or more precisely, with my brain. The delirium caused by excessive alcohol made me believe it was merely an ant. Not in the medical sense of micropsia, but I truly mistook it for something insignificant. So when it came charging toward me, I did not dodge. Who fears an ant? In the gray-yellow streetlight, I swayed drunkenly across the road, trying to stop it with the arrogance of a crab, but soon I became its target. Furious, it transformed into shadow and wind, lunging at me. Did man-eating ants exist in this city? I didn't know. But when death surged upon me, instinct took over. I threw my head back in terror. The ant grazed my chest and roared past. I stood frozen, trembling, not daring to move. What kind of ant was so audacious? For the first time in my life, I felt fear toward one. If it had ended there, perhaps I would have forever avoided ants, mosquitoes, flies, and moths alike. But it did not end. That night, before my eyes, I saw the ant reveal something inconceivable. It stopped at the roadside. At first, I didn't know its intent. Then, under my horrified gaze, its body split open on its own, not by tearing or burning, but as fruit splitting when ripe. My defenses went up sharply. I thought it would devour me, but I was wrong again. From its opening crawled out a drunken man, swaying like me. He did not approach. From afar, he waved at me. And I, held in a trance as though seized by some mysterious force, returned the gesture. That confirmed I had not been harmed. Then he quickly climbed back into the ant's body and vanished. My friend rushed over, yelling, "Do you want to die? Want to be run over?" His outburst shattered the vision, dragging me back to reality. From then on I rarely drank, but that dreamlike vision stayed with me through many dull days, offering endless aftertaste. Who is real, who false? If it had been a car charging at me, how to explain the ant? If it had been an ant, how could ants attack people? I reject the notion that the story belongs to magical realism, expressionism, or surrealism. Otherwise, Asturias, Carpentier, Strindberg, Capek, Breton, and St. John Perse would be embarrassed indeed. In fact, even typing Guangji, Zibuyu, and notes from the thatched cottage of close observations, were they not also colored by imagination, perhaps under alcohol's influence compared with legend? I prefer the term fiction. The latter seems closer to modern literature. Perhaps I can put it this way: the sober me engages in conscious fiction, the drunken me, in semi-conscious or unconscious fiction, such as the ant. I do not know. Perhaps, like micropsia, only doctors can explain. I have lived in Lanzhou for nearly 10 years. In this city, I often feel I dwell within fiction. That is not pretension. Novelist Zhang Chu once wrote about writer Yi Zhou, saying, "Years ago I passed through Lanzhou. It was utterly different from what I imagined. Like a city from Mars, in the evenings, crowds of retirees sang King-Kiang opera by the Yellow River like a bustling market. At night, bars brimmed with guitar-strumming folk singers, their strange hairstyles like deep-sea fish. The city was raw, abundant, bizarre, enchanting, like a Hayao Miyazaki film, where souls and ghosts roam, the living sleep with the dead." Yet online news about Lanzhou was all grim, Lynchian horror, boiled infant corpses in dumps, villages trafficking stolen organs, a groom discovering his bride was male on their wedding night, countless such stories. In my subconscious, Yi Zhou did not belong here. He was too graceful, too self-aware, like a Tang poet drunken in Jiangnan spring rain. In truth, I too feel I do not belong. The Lanzhou I live in is fictional, or rather, I live according to the Lanzhou I have fictionalized. Outside of this fiction, what does the real me look like? One river named Yellow cleaves Lanzhou into north and south. That proud line has appeared often in my work. Perhaps because of this fierce imagery, surrounded by secret sects like Kunlun and Kongtong, Lanzhou has been called China's most Jianghu city. You'd expect masters of martial arts hidden here, but no, it is poets who crowd its banks. So many poets. Years ago, I read a joke: if 10 bricks fell from the sky, 9 of those killed would be poets. Indeed, In Lanzhou, every bar boat on the Yellow River has hosted countless poets. They swear brotherhood, seize territories, drink beer, brawl, chase girls, boast. Is this a poet's life? It is the very essence of the Jianghu, heroes drinking and feasting. And my true self outside fiction must also be a poet, immersed among them. I too became disguised, and gradually, sincerely, a Jianghu man. But as every Jianghu hero must have a unique skill remembered by all, so should I, after so long among poets, have written verse of note. Yet in a Jianghu where everyone wields swords, is it not more dazzling to wield a knife? So I shut my door, fictionalized Lanzhou, and created my poet series of stories, What We Do When We Make Love, My Nights More Brilliant Than Your Days, Poet, Hukou, A Place None of You Shall Know, Dream Song, and others. The poets weren't pleased, of course. Who wants their secrets exposed, however veiled, in fiction? But is that not fiction? Ah, so they too live in self-invented lands. Has this repeated fictioning led to aesthetic fatigue, perhaps even plagiarism? I sought breakthroughs, but it was futile, like a beast trapped in its cage. Until one day, I met Miss Zhao Bailu. She drank, smoked, haunted bars, and most importantly, wrote poetry. Then the wondrous door opened. I had written plenty about male poets, but never female ones. Writing of a female poet would be far more dazzling, but how to write? My encounters with Miss Zhao revealed only clichés. Would it be another self-plagiarism? Yet a novelist who only spins clichés from clichés, what a farce. Fortunately, fiction itself offered a way, so, as if trying once more to meet that end, one night 3 years ago, beneath the descending white dew, I drank again after long abstinence and, seeking unconscious fiction, typed the first line of the story Bailu. Bailu, excerpt. That night of white dew, I met Miss Zhao Bailu again. She called, saying she was coming. I casually said, then come. 10 minutes later, she appeared at my door in a crimson nightdress, a black Lanzhou cigarette dangling elegantly. She shoved a dozen Yellow River bears into my arms, grinning. Clearly, she wanted to drink again. Miss Zhao always came to me when she had no one else to drink with, as though I were always waiting. She kicked off her shoes, leapt onto my bed, threw me a cigarette though she knew I didn't smoke, and mocked me loudly. What kind of man doesn't smoke? She cracked open beers, chugged them down, flattened the cans, wiped foam from her chin with the back of her hand, and cursed. Goddamn, I'm bored to death. At a poetry gathering in a bar, someone raised Tibet. A female poet declared everyone must experience Tibet once in their life, to see snow mountains, drink barley wine, spin prayer wheels, receive divine baptism, sing Kangayang Jiatso's love songs before the potala. Especially women. She stressed, it is travel, not tourism. The debate spiraled, until a plain-looking poet laughed scornfully. Confronted, he asked her, have you been to Tibet? She said no. He sneered, then how do you know 100 yuan is enough to travel there? Don't you know many so-called budget travelers, especially women, end up bartering their bodies along the way? The bar erupted in laughter. The female poet flushed with shame. Later, Miss Zhao dragged me to Blue Rose, the most famous bar in the university district. She bit open bottle caps with her teeth, drank like a fiend. That night, she downed 11 bottles to my 4. By 3 a.m., the city glowed as I hauled her along the empty streets, her vomit soaking me. I brought her to my rented room, a den for post-poetry gathering liaisons. She lay disheveled on my bed, beautiful, irresistible. I leaned close, then she suddenly vomited again, straight in my face. On a midsummer day by the Yellow River, she told a stranger the story of a girl from a poor county south of Lanzhou, who loved poetry, loved the city, fell for a graduate student poet, only to be betrayed for a wealthier woman. Crushed, shamed by her parents, she drifted between bars, men, and loneliness. That night, in my smoky room, she pressed against me, then shouted hysterically, a whore and a dog, forever. Tears streaming, she left, heels echoing into the night. Afterward, her image blurred in my mind. Sometimes I wondered if she had ever existed at all, or was only my own invention. Rumors spread, she had become a civil servant with a happy marriage, or else she had been caught in a police raid, leapt into the Yellow River in shame. I refused to believe either. She deserved another life later. I abandoned poetry. Without her, I no longer felt gutted. My life grew plain, numb, almost at peace. Until one day, a novelist friend handed me a magazine containing his story, Bai Lu. I skipped to the end. The conclusion borrowed from Marguerite Duras de Lèvres, Bai Lu Barrett, Autumn Equinox Tolling. Time passed quietly. He never saw Miss Zhao Bailu again. After many poetry gatherings, flings, exams, and graduation, he often stood by the window gazing at the white building where she once lived. One drunken night, he entered it. The landlord said she had long moved out. He wept on the stairwell half the night, then called her. She recognized his voice instantly. He told her he had been admitted to graduate school, was leaving Lanzhou. She congratulated him. He hesitated, then confessed, "I still want to live closer to the Yellow River." I read the ending over and over, until I could recite it by heart. My eyes burned. I closed the magazine. My friend smoked silently, a pile of butts at his feet. I said, "Give me a cigarette." He knew I didn't smoke, but after a pause, handed me one anyway. Would you like me to summarize the translated story into a short, clear version for easier understanding?
What do you think about this topic? Feel free to share your thoughts and comments with us. If this is your first time watching our channel, please hit the subscribe button to support us. Thank you.